2023 marks my 20th year of selling real estate, and in today's video, I'm going to look back and I'm going to share 20 lessons that I've learned from selling real estate, and we're going to get started right now. Some of these lessons are for buyers, sellers, investors, and there's a couple that could apply to agents. Lesson number 1 is the value of a sewer scope inspection. If you're buying a home, a sewer scope inspection will be the best $200 you'll ever spend. If the home is over 40 years old, has mature hardwood trees in the neighborhood, if the main stack is made of cast iron, and if there's a rubber replacement plug on that main stack, you want to definitely have the main sewer line scoped. Replacing a main sewer line is very expensive and not covered by insurance. And keep this in mind too, you're responsible from the home to the street. Lesson number 2 is use a local lender to get pre-approved. I've said this thousands of times. Use a local lender, especially if you're relocating to Omaha, Nebraska. Now, speaking of relocation, if you're relocating to Omaha, my name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty, and I'm a local realtor here in Omaha, Nebraska. Using a reputable lender will help get your offer accepted. Now, if you're in need of a great lender, hey, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description below. Lesson number 3 is not all lenders are created equal. Some pre-approval letters are not worth the paper they're written on. That is why it's best to lock in your lender, get pre-approved, and then shop for homes. Lesson number 4, and you've heard me say this time and time again as well if you've paid attention to this channel, if you're selling your home, before putting your home on the market, have the furnace and AC professionally cleaned and serviced by an HVAC technician. This is something that almost always pops up on a home inspection. Just be proactive and do it up front. And while you're being proactive, make sure that you have carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors installed on each level of the home. Lesson number 5, read the contract. Make sure you read the contract. A purchase agreement is a legally binding contract. Most people sign contracts electronically with no inkling as to what they just signed. And if you're a for sale by owner, many for sale by owners may not fully understand all of the clauses they're agreeing to in the contract. Now, keep this in mind too. Understand that if you're a for sale by owner and an agent brings you a buyer, that agent represents the buyer and not you. A seller is paying the broker who brings a buyer a commission to negotiate against the seller. Many sellers get upset because they get caught not understanding exactly what they agreed to because they were just so excited to save money by not hiring an agent. Lesson number 6 is not all home inspectors are created equal. Everyone knows the importance of a home inspection. Not all inspectors are created equal. Just because a home inspector shows up in a Google search at the top spot doesn't mean that is the best inspector. It means they have the best site optimized on Google. Your agent can help you and provide you with a reputable home inspector. Lesson number 7, home inspectors are not perfect. Inspectors make mistakes. Home inspections are visual inspections, and if you have buyer's remorse or second thoughts on the house you're going to buy, the time to bail is during the home inspection time. Lesson number 8, the perfect home does not exist. When you're buying a home, the perfect home does not exist. Your dream home is also a moving target. Understand that even if you build, there will always be something that you would like to change or you didn't think about. Likewise, if you're an investor, the perfect deal does not exist either. Lesson number 9 is school district. Remember, especially the Omaha market, even if you do not have school-aged children, the importance of the school district. People in Omaha make real estate decisions based off of school district. Now, I did a video on the different school districts, and I'll include a link in the description below. Lesson number 10 is pay attention to the property taxes and maintenance costs. Too many buyers do not take into account property taxes, or if the home is older, the need to budget for maintenance items. An inspection is a snapshot in time. Furnaces break, things need to be replaced, and you want to make sure you budget for that replacement. Lesson number 11, you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. Today's high prices are tomorrow's great deals. Go back and look at home prices from 5 to 10 years ago. I've seen investors shop and shop for the perfect deal, or they want to offer a ridiculous price and never get a deal put together. Remember, you can get a deal, but you may not get a steal. And I've done this one myself where I let a deal go over $1,000 or $2,000. And then 15 years later, hey, that house is worth $150,000 more. Lesson number 12 is understand your homeowner's insurance policy. Too many buyers do not fully understand homeowners insurance policies. Okay, what is covered, what's not covered. A great insurance agent is someone who should be on your team. Remember, you're not just shopping for cost, you're shopping for the best coverage at the best price. All right, lesson 13 is a big one. And hear me out if you own investment property. It's not if you will be sued, it is when. I love investment property. I think it's one of the best ways to build wealth over time. However, and this is tied in with insurance, and you might think, oh, that'll never happen to me. And you want to make sure that you have the right coverage when it comes time for the attorneys to fight on your behalf. Trust me, we live in a world now where people sue at a drop of a hat, and you want to make sure that your ducks are lined up in a row. And here's a bonus tip. If you have investment property, and I know there's going to be a whole contingent of folks that disagree with this, and that's fine. To me, it's best to have a property manager. Too many landlords do not understand all of the rules and regulations involved with property management. Number 14 is a fun one. Vacant properties in winter. Have your home professionally winterized if the property is vacant, especially in the Omaha area. I've seen basements with 2 feet of ice in the basement and the furnace is ruined, and it can be a real disaster. Furnaces go out, batteries and thermostats can go bad. Next thing you know, the pipe burst, and the only way you know is there's a problem is if the neighbor calls you and says, hey, there's water running out of the garage. Lesson number 15 is sellers will net more if their home is listed with an agent. There's a natural tendency to think if you sell by owner, you'll save money on commission. And it's been proven time and time again that sellers will actually net more if they list their home with an agent. Lesson number 16, pay attention to the details. When you buy a home, pay attention to the neighbors. The first thing you're buying is the location. Sometimes buyers get tunnel vision and they focus on the house and not the neighborhood. And I've made that mistake as a real estate investor. Maybe your neighbor has a big tree in their yard. Well, guess what? Those roots are going to block your sewer line. Lesson 17 deals with repairs. Don't let your ego kill the deal. Sometimes sellers will decide not to make repairs from the home inspection. If the deal falls apart, now you have to disclose those defects to the next potential buyer. I once had a seller who did not want to make an $800 repair. That repair ended up costing them a total of $20,000. I have a video on that deal, and I'll leave a link in the card above. Let's just say you do have a repair that's going to cost you $800. Letting a deal fall apart for $800 is like buying your home back for $800. Have the repairs done. And here's another bonus tip. If you do have any repairs or remodeling that requires a building permit, get a permit. And here's why. Let's say something happens and the insurance company goes to investigate, and if they found out the work was done without a permit, it may not be covered by insurance. And I understand this is a big hassle, but in today's world, it's not worth the risk. Lesson number 18 is your best offer may be your first offer. I once had a seller who did not take the first offer, and it ended up costing them about $70,000. Now, long story short, this was a $220,000 home, and he got an offer for $200,000. And this was right during the Great Recession. He didn't take that offer, and it took him 3 years to sell that property. And he went through 9 agents. I was his 9th agent, and he sold it for $135,000. And I'll include a link in the description on that story. Usually in a real estate transactions, there's 2 people that are unhappy, the buyer and the seller. The buyer thinks they paid too much, and the seller thinks they sold it for too little. That's usually a sign of fair market value. Lesson 19 is don't be a jerk to work with. Some agents are a pain in the butt to work with. if you're one of those agents who are difficult to work with, some agents will not want to work with you. You get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. Lesson number 20 is to buy more real estate. And I'm talking in terms of investment property. Looking back, one of the mistakes that I made was not buying more investment properties. I originally got my license because I was an investor and I wanted easier access to property. Now, looking back, if I had to do anything differently, I probably would have bought more properties. Now, if you want to learn more about the home buying process, hey, be sure to check out this next video and you make it a great day.